It's time for the John and Rick Show.
Just unbelievable. Get off our lawns.
Get off our lawns, man. Come on, grading companies.
Lock up your wives, lock up your cars, because here we are.
Welcome back to another John and Rick Show.
Hey, 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 let's go.
Hey, hey, hey. What's on your mind today, Rick?
God, man, we're gonna cover like four or five different sets in an hour here. We're gonna confuse everyone. We confused ourselves even before we got on air. We were talking for about a half hour, arguing about different things, years and so forth, all in fun. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this episode. I've learned a lot of stuff with this. We know PSA and SEC don't know what they're talking about with years. We got seems like
yes, we are going to again prove that, as we do every single episode, how much the grading companies don't know, and yet everybody puts their faith in them.
Exactly, and I guess we can start with the get off my lawn topic. Very short topic here of PSA upcharging. That seems to be the weekly conversation this week or last week. And you have any thoughts on that at all?
I mean, I don't care. You know, I stopped grading with them back during COVID, and they're a monopoly. They could do whatever they want as long as people will continue to, collectors and investors, flippers continue to pay up for their numbers and their slabs. They could do whatever the hell they want, and they do. My biggest problem with them, beyond that upcharge, which at least they're being honest now and saying, because you could sell the card for more money, we're charging you more money. They're basically getting a commission on everybody's sales. But it's what I always say. It's not my problem with them, but it's what I always say, that none of these changes ever help the collector. Because upcharges, if you're not selling the card and they're taking a commission of the value, how does that help a collector if you're not selling the card? If you just want to grade your card, it's like just getting punished for having a nice card, I guess, in your collection. But my real problem is the conflict of interest this monopoly is creating, where they are now like the top seller on eBay, and they're selling the cards, grading the cards. And it's a real serious conflict of interest. But again, as long as collectors are willing to do whatever they want to do, bend over and take it, then they will continue to dominate the hobby, and you just need to suck it up and quit complaining about it.
And a lot of people are bending over, apparently.
They sure are. They're lining up.
It's like
some of them are on YouTube saying how happy they are that they're bending over. What a great thing it is. Because they can sell the card for more money now.
They can't even sit in their seats. Oh my God. I agree 100%. It's just a total monopoly. It's kind of, I mean, they can do what they want, but it's almost like I rent an office space, okay? And I go month to month. I don't have a lease. I've been doing for 15 years now, okay? But it's like let's say the guy knows I have a great year. I tell the guy, hey, man, I had a great year. I sold all kinds of crap. I'm making a ton of money. Hey, we're going to raise your rent next month. It's like that type of thing. It's crazy.
Well, capitalism is all about supply and demand. And as long as people pay it, they can do whatever the hell they want. They can do whatever the hell they want. I'm just glad I don't play in that realm.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever leave the hobby, it'll be because they took it over, and I don't like it anymore.
Yeah. But anyway, that was our get off my lawn segment.
Get off our lawns. All right,
so
Rick.
all right, you mentioned we should cover something. You got a rare card in the mail.
Yes.
You want to start with it, or how do you want to approach that?
Yeah. So how do you pronounce it?
I think people say Kester, Kester, but it's spelled differently.
It's spelled like coasters with a K,
Coaster.
Koe. But you're saying it's Kester's?
Yeah, it was a company in Baltimore. Actually, it started in the late 1886 or something like that, and then they also had a company in New York. Okay, so I guess it was a pretty big bread company, and they actually, I guess, retired, or the company went out of business in the 70s. So it was around forever. I never really, maybe I've heard of it, that company before. I'm on the West Coast, so I don't know. But you have a very rare card that you want to.
Yeah. So all those bread cards are rare. Kester's,
Yeah.
coasters, whatever it is. They're all very rare. And we wanted to touch on this because on our last episode, we talked about the W575s and the W501s and touched on the American caramels. And this card looks similar. And I think that we should have mentioned it. So this is, and I just did a video on this. So if you watch my channel and all my videos, sorry for the overlap, but it's important to explain. So this card, PSA's only ever graded 1. And these cards were issued for the very first all New York World Series between the Giants and the Yankees. So it was only made for Giants and Yankees players. And it's very similar. I have the W575-1 here. Very similar, except the W575-1 lists manager fully spelled out. And the Kester's Bread just lists MGR for manager. Now, Rick, do you want to talk a little bit about how PSA always misidentifies these?
Yeah, so I've seen a lot, or not, but I mean, these are rare, so not a lot, but I've seen where PSA will say it's a Kester bread when it's actually a 575-1. And so I would be a little leery when you pay up for these PSA lovers, when you pay up for these in a PSA slab, you better double check, talk to us, do your research. I can guide you to some great information on these before you buy something and pay up for these, because they look basically the same, but there's ways to tell whether it's a 575-1 or a Kester's bread, which John has the Kester's bread issue.
And both sets are rare. So I don't know how much it should affect what you pay for them, because they're both very rare. Kester's bread, I think, is going to be more rare just because it was a regional.
Yeah, and you know where it's from. I mean, you know the company. You know something about these were placed in a package.
Yeah.
So I would prefer something where you have some, where it actually came from instead of an anonymous, company.
Yeah.
So, and then of course the Giants won the World Series. I did a little research, which is great. And it was kind of interesting when I did the research. You had on a coaching staff, you had McGraw, which you had there. You had Jesse Burkett, the Hall of Fame pitcher. You had Chrissy Mathewson in 21 on the coaching staff. And you had Hugh Jennings, which was a great friend of McGraw, all on the same coaching staff. And I think there's a Hugh Jennings card actually in the set. So that's an incredible coaching staff that he had assembled.
Yes, it is. So we just wanted to mention that set because it was so similar to our last discussion. All right, what do you want to talk about next?
All right, so I changed the pages. We're going to do a more common issue, and that's the 1913 Tom Barker game and the National game. We both have cards from the set. And actually, you could pick these up at a decent price. Hall of Famer or any card for a decent price. They're not rare at all. And usually in good condition because they have the rounded corners, right?
Yeah, so here, yeah, you don't have to worry about corner wear, that's for sure. So here's the Tom Barker. That's the Ty Cobb there. And
Beautiful.
it's, yeah, I love this card. And
That is a
that's what the
great
backs look
card.
like.
You can see Tom Barker on the back. That's how you can identify them, basically.
Yeah, they're very easy to identify in the wild if you see them. Here's Zach Wheat. And I have a Rube Marquardt. I only have 3 from this set.
All photo images too, which makes it really cool. You know.
Yeah, yeah. You know, this is when they started to really get into the images. We have some early photographs, like the 1903 E107s, for instance. But you know, most of the cards back then were drawn. They were artists. And then in the mid-teens, you really get into a lot of the photographs with the black and white cards, the Sporting News, and those kinds of things. Of course, you go back to the Sporting Life in 1910, 11. Those had photographs. But you really start to get more into it in the mid-teens and into the 1920s.
Yeah.
And of course, they were all black and white. They didn't have color photography.
And there are 52 playing cards. 43 were identifiable players, and then 9 were action shots. You know, where you have the action shots. They're produced by the National Game Playing Cards in Tremont Street in Boston. And I looked it up, and the building is still there, actually, in downtown
right?
Boston. Yeah. This card company, and it was 18A Tremont Street. I always like to look up to see all these different issues if the building's still standing, you know. And
That's
really
interesting because I lived on Tremont Avenue before I moved to South Carolina.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
I don't know what Tremont means, but it was my address.
Yeah, so half of them are Hall of Famers. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but the national game came out first. Okay. Then the Tom
Let's show
Barker
the national game. So the
Yeah.
national game looks very similar.
Very
Here's the
similar.
shoeless Joe Jackson.
Hey, you got a shoeless Joe? I got a shoeless Joe. Keep them up.
There you go.
Hey,
2 for the price of 1.
I got a higher number.
You win. You win. You win cardboard. What's it called? Showdown. I'm a loser.
How many points do I get? More. I got a 9.
This shoeless Joe's shit, man. It's got that ugly number on it.
I tell you.
There's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with this card. When I saw it, I was like, you know, because I could care less about the numbers. I buy the card, and it's just a beauty.
Oh, it is.
I don't know why it got that number, to be honest.
I have an SGC 9 card. like you like to say, like people like to say, right?
Well, they say SGC version or a PSA version. I'm like, when did PSA and SGC start making cards? How can you have a version of the card? A PSA version.
And the reason why
here's a MagPro version of the Cy Young.
Oh, we're a bunch of old farts.
Hey, speaking of which, do you need to take a pee break?
I know. Not yet. I'll let you know. We can always.
Here's a home run Baker. Totally not hobby relevant. His stats are terrible. Teapot says his cards won't be worth anything in the future. They might not be the way things are going. Here is, who else do I have in here? I have Chief Bender. That's a great name for a curveball pitcher. Bender.
Yeah, or a great pitcher.
Or he was a heavy drinker.
He
was always on a bender.
He was.
And I always mention that they put a non-drinking clause in his contract. Yeah. He drank so much. And then here is Miller Huggins, and it's a cool card.
That is cool.
That's what a baseball card's supposed to look like right there. Again, not hobby relevant. You can pick these up for next to nothing.
So the reason we know the national game came out first. So on the back of the cards, like on my Joe Jackson, it says patent March 25th, 1913. Okay.
Yep.
And there's the back. It says that on the back here, okay? But we know that the national game came out first because Hal Chase's card, he was traded in June to Chicago. And he's in the Tom Barker in the Chicago uniform. So that's why we know that the Tom Barker came out later after the national game because of Hal Chase being traded. A lot of
And
these
when was he traded? Do you know when he was traded?
June
In June
of 13. June of 13. And
is it possible the Tom Barkers are actually 1914 instead of 13?
Because there's an ad in, actually, these are now East Coast. There's an ad in the San Francisco Examiner, an ad in May of 1914 for the Tom Barker game. For 50 cents, you can get a deck of cards. So there's an actual ad in the San Francisco newspaper for these Tom Barker cards.
And it was what date?
May of 1914.
May of 14, which, man, it sure sounds like that could be a 14 issue.
Could be. Then we also know the difference of in the cards. The national game, besides the back, obviously, is 4 cards were in the national game that weren't in the Tom Barker game. For instance, Dolan, McLean, Stahl, and Stover were all in the national game. Tom Barker game replaced those players with Myers, Wheat, Kerrigan, and Wingo.
Bill Dalen. You can make the argument he should be in the Hall of Fame.
I think so. So Tom Barker afterwards. Now, Tom Barker, my research, there was not a player, Tom Barker. There was no one there on the East Coast, Boston, some famous person. So we don't know where Tom Barker, they might have just imaginary name came up.
It's probably the guy that invented the card game, right?
Probably.
And so the card game. But I mean, here again, they just slap years on these labels, the grading companies, without any thought whatsoever. Honestly.
Because they go patent is in 13, so they think everything comes out in 13. Doesn't mean just because they applied for a patent doesn't mean,
it could have come out 5 years later.
Exactly. Now, one other card in this set, it's kind of interesting. It's a different set, I guess. It's the Home Run Baker Fenway Brewing Company.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it has an overprint, or what do you call that? An over thing on the side of the card that has an advertisement, like a stamp advertisement. And he's the only card in the set that has that advertisement. And the box is different. So the box that it came on says Fenway Brewing Company or whatever on the box. And plus, he's the only player. Now, why would Home Run Baker be the only player in the set and not a Boston player?
Yeah.
I'm guessing, this is my own little theory here, is Boston really didn't have any big-time players. They had Moranville then, Rabbit Moranville. But besides that, Home Run Baker was like the home run king back then. He was the biggest thing. So they put him as the advertisement card.
Well, was it a whole pack of just him?
No, just he's the only one that had the advertisement, but the rest of the cards were the same as the national game and the Tom Barker game.
Okay.
And I guess
could you turn that in to get free product if you got that, or was that in every one?
No, I think it was just an advertisement for the company.
But it was in every card game, every card box,
every card Fenway card box.
Okay.
So it was a separate box, Fenway Brewing Company advertisement box. He was the only card in the set that had the stamp. All the other players were like the ones you showed, didn't have an advertisement on there. And apparently they came with both the national game and the Tom Barker game. I guess the national game is the most popular, the ones you see the most, but actually I saw online the Tom Barker with a stamp on it too.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I confused. Does that make sense? So,
But you have some information on the date of that brewing company, right?
yeah, so apparently it was really close to the stadium, this brewing company, but they actually didn't open until 1915. They were in business from 1915 to 1918. But it
So how
says
could they issue cards in 1913?
exactly.
There you go.
So
Took a lot of research to figure that out, huh?
yeah, no, it took a lot of research. So hope I didn't confuse people. I have, that card.
So these are all 1915 then.
Yeah, there we go. So who knows? But you're right. My guess, definitely came out national game first. Tom Barker game, maybe 1914. And then this other company, Fenway, decided, or the card company, hey, I can get Fenway Brewing Company wanted to, advertise. And they have just the Home Run Baker's the only card in the set.
Okay, so the Fenway could have been made later using those same cards.
Yeah,
and printed the Home Run Baker differently. But it would have to be 1915. What, 15?
15.
It would have to be 1915, right? If they didn't open until then.
They opened in 1950. The business, the Fenway Brewing Company, opened in 1915. I don't know what date, early 15, whatever. Maybe they were printed in 14 for the opening of the 15. Who knows? But
yeah,
definitely wasn't 13. Definitely wasn't 13. I'm sure. Did we confuse everyone?
Probably.
Okay.
And then you want to go to the. Are you done with that? Do you want to go to the Polo Grounds?
So yeah, let's do the Polo Grounds. So the Polo Grounds apparently were 1914, and they have a fantastic back.
Here's the Hannes Wagner. And yeah, the back is a stadium.
Yeah.
The Polo Grounds.
And we all know the Polo Grounds with the
classic ballpark.
The Giants played.
Who won the last game in the Polo Grounds?
Who did? I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. He played for my Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's their all-time leading strikeout leader.
Who?
Bob Friend.
Bob Friend.
I was sitting with Bob Friend, and we were talking, and I said, "Oh, you won the last game in the Polo Grounds," and he's like, "I did." He didn't even know he did.
Yeah, classic stadium, man. I need to have I want to get a Type 1 photo of that Polo Grounds. It's a weird shape.
That'd be pretty amazing.
Isn't it kind of it's a weird shape, like a horseshoe shaped stadium,
Yeah.
But a lot of history. But that set is different company from Virginia, I believe. Norfolk, Virginia is where those cards came from. And it's not they call them the Polo Ground set, but it escapes me the actual name of the card company. American All-Star Cards or American Company, something like that is the actual name of the company. We just call it the Polo Ground set.
Yeah. And they also had the Nat Lajoie set with the two colors. Look at that number. Look at that big number, Rick. You can only tie me. You can't beat me in Showdown.
And let's go back to the other thing. Now that you think about it, why is it called the Polo Grounds when it's actually, it has the back of the cards, the Polo Ground, but it didn't come from that. That's just somebody came up with the Polo Ground set. It's whatever the company was or on the box. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Polo Ground cards or.
So that's just became how it was known, or were those given away at the Polo Grounds?
No, I mean I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. So it should be called whatever the card game was or the company.
Well, do you know how they were distributed?
I don't.
I mean, is it possible they were sold at the Polo Grounds? That's the only place you could get them, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
You're sticking up for these card companies, man. I'm saying they mislabeled those.
Well, I tried to figure out why they were identified like that to begin with, because Jefferson Burdick did a lot of research on all this stuff, and I always try to give him the benefit of the doubt, because when he did his research, he may have gotten these. He may have obtained these cards in the year he says. That's why I think many of them are probably multi-year sets, and he obtained them in the year he's saying they are from, and maybe didn't realize they continued to prove. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like he was such a pioneer that we have to give him some benefit of the doubt if we don't have information to contradict it completely.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you're sticking up for him. Okay, let's go. Next.
This is going to be a long one, right?
Oh my God. Okay. So we come up just so you know, and we decide like on Thursday, roughly this is going to be aired on Tuesday, we come up around Thursday or Friday, and I usually the one that brings up a topic, but sometimes John does. Hey, what do you want to cover this week? And I throw out a couple issues and we add a few more, and that's how we we haven't even decided for next week yet. Well, sure, later in the week we'll figure it out, but we have a ton to cover. We probably picked too many different issues this
and just to point out, that's the amount of time that you spend researching this. And you can debunk the flips that PSA and SGC assign.
Exactly.
In an hour. I mean, it's absurd.
Hey, we haven't even started yet. We got some more.
I know. Every week, though, every week we show where the grading companies are completely inaccurate, inadequate with their research departments and labeling cards with the wrong years, wrong sets, all kind of things. It's just absurd. I mean, if you're going to you're going to open a pack today and send your card in for grading, fine. I don't think they could screw that up. But they need to, if they're going to be the card experts and everybody's relying on them, and especially when you get into the rare cards and people might be paying up for a flip, and because they think it's that rare set and it turns out to not be. They really need to get this stuff right, especially if they're going to upcharge you $4,000 or something. All right, let's go.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to do the 1933 Rittenhouse Candy Company cards, okay? Which I don't have any. But
I win Cardboard Showdown then.
You get a 0. And it has a letter on the back. And so what you're supposed to do in order to win a knife, a baseball, a first baseman's mitt, skates, or an air rifle, believe it or not, can you imagine kids, hey, turn in your cards, you're going to win a knife or an air rifle.
Well, let's back up. They sell all that stuff. It was Rittenhouse, a department store. Yeah. It was a department store.
Yeah. Well,
where?
No, it was actually, it's a Rittenhouse was a candy company.
Oh, so they had to partner with other companies to do the giveaways.
What you would do was you have a letter, which letter do you have there? What letter did you show?
I knew this was a candy company, but giving away all those different products, I'm confused. It even says candy on the label. They got that one right, Rick. Candy.
And now what letter do you have on your back of that, on that card?
I have an R.
Okay. So what kids would do is you would collect these cards and spell out Rittenhouse Candy Companies.
How cool is that?
And you would win if you turned in those cards, spelled it out, turned in all the cards with all the letters. You would basically check mark the item that you wanted to have them deliver back to you, like an air rifle, fielder's glove, and so forth.
And that is why these cards are so rare, which they are. And why a lot of cards are rare is because you would turn them in for products. Now, did you get the card back? Was it canceled?
I don't know. But they're so rare. I mean,
probably not, because they're still rare.
Probably not. And the fact, too, is what other company came out? What other company came out in 33? Gowdy, right? So what are you going to collect? You're going to collect these Rittenhouse cards?
But think about this. This is during the Great Depression. If a kid could get an air rifle or a little piece of cardboard, and their mom didn't have any money, I think they're going to go for the air rifle.
Yeah.
So
But
they
the
can
problem,
go shoot each other in the woods.
but the problem is this company screwed the kids because they
What?
short printed a letter, the letter H. It's almost impossible to find the letter H.
Man,
So
and
that's
Topps is still doing that stuff today. They were like
so,
the original repackers,
and
where you know you're not going to get anything.
I've never
You're not going to get the
seen
big hit.
how they were distributed or anything like that. You know, I'm not sure. You know, if they're strip form or I've never seen a sheet or anything like that. Now there's another way
I'll tell you,
can win.
these don't look hand cut.
Okay.
Well, actually, I take that back. There's a black line at the top, but that was probably just in the printing process. I mean, if these were sold in strips or something, or they were hand cut, you'd be able to see the backs, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Or maybe they were distributed like the one of the ways the 517s were, where you would pull it out of a box.
Yeah. Who knows? I've never seen. Yeah. I mean, Rittenhouse was, I guess, the name is in Philadelphia famous because they were like the first paper mill in that city. So the Rittenhouse, there's a lot of different Rittenhouse Square, Rittenhouse this, that, and everything in Philadelphia, apparently.
Oh. Okay, so that was just one of their businesses.
So you're probably right. The department store, Rittenhouse is probably all over Philadelphia back then. But there was another way you can win an air rifle or all this other stuff is if you turn the card around, if you had a number, you could, if you have a lucky number or a set of numbers, you could win prizes too. But those cards apparently are extremely rare. So who knows how that, basically was. The most common ones are the one you have there with the letter on the back, not a number.
Oh, man. That's so common. I think this is like, I don't remember specifically, but I think the pop's in the low single digits on this particular card.
Yeah.
So if you had one with a different back, man, if it exists, it'd probably be a 1 of 1.
I was hoping you had that H. At first, I thought maybe he has that H when he turned it around, but it was an R. Darn it.
All right, man.
All right, so that's the 1933 Rittenhouse Candy Company card.
Now we're going to get into the monster.
Oh, my God. We spent about a half hour before we started this on this set. And
so what we're going to talk about, let me just give a little intro here. What we're going to talk about is the 1927, as they've always been labeled, W560. Now, we can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they were not just issued in 1927. However, Rick has some information that he seems to believe proves they couldn't even have been printed in 1927 at all. And I believe it was probably a multi-year issue, 1928, 29. Wait, was it 28, 29 or 29, 30? 29, 30.
29. Starting in 29.
1929, 30. And that they probably were not produced in 1927 like the grading companies say they were. Well, first, let's show the card.
So why don't you start with...
Here's the Babe Ruth from the set. It's one of the Jokers.
Do you have a
These
Babe
were
Ruth?
strip cards.
Yeah.
These were strip cards. They were issued in a sheet. Do you know how many of them there were? It was a full sheet.
Yeah, 64 cards in the set, issued in 4 sheets of 16 cards. 4 sheets of 16 cards. And there's basically two different sets. The first set that came out first is where you would have a player, the image of Babe Ruth there. He would be in either, that circle would be either, he would be red or black. Okay, red or black, the image of him in that circle, the color. And then the number would be different, whether it be, so if he had a red image, the number would be black.
Well, he doesn't have a number on his. He's the Joker.
Yeah. But I'm saying normally that's the way for the set. Okay.
So let's back up because we failed to mention these are little playing cards. And so here is, here's an example. Here's a Rogers Hornsby. Shows him in black. With this is red.
Yes.
And these are a little more rare than the ones that are the same color, like this Lou Gehrig.
Exactly. So 2 sheets would be where the color would be, the player would be red and the number would be black. And then 2 sheets, the player would be black and the number red. So 2 of each. And they came out first. And those tend to be tougher to find. And John has a few of them.
Well, here's the black Walter Johnson. And then here is the more rare with the red in the center and the black.
Yes. And the one John showed first, that came out afterwards. So that would be 4 sheets of 16 again. 2 of the sheets would be completely red and 2 of the sheets would be completely black.
Yeah, now let me show a completely red one. Here's Paul Wainer. So that's what it looks like, completely red. Of course, the Babe Ruth I showed was the same.
Is the Babe Ruth, was that one color? Was it one color or 2 colors?
It's all red, but has it's the Joker. It has a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
I would call it all red, I guess.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they with the Joker cards.
Yeah, the other another Joker, and there's a few. I have here's a couple of others. The Jimmy Fox. And why here's a reason why it's important to date these properly is that if they are 1927, that makes this a rookie card. Because he has an exhibit card. I think the exhibit goes from 26, but it's a multi-year exhibit card, so there's no way of knowing when that particular one came out. If this was just a 27, I think we could confidently call it a rookie card. However, if it's a 1929, 30, it's not even close to a rookie card. And that's one of the reasons for those rookie card collectors that it's important to get the years right. Now here is another Joker, and it has like an old maid, and there seems to be no rhyme or reason to why they do this with these images. But this is Mickey Cochran, which looks to be an old maid. And I don't know if there was another game meant to be played with these. And another important thing to note is this was a multi-sport subject. It had actresses. It had Charles Lindbergh, which you'll get into. It had boxers. So it had other sports. And this one has a cowboy hat. So it's quite interesting if there was like an old maid type of a game in addition to the playing card game. If there were, I don't know, because it doesn't make any sense to put a cowboy on a baseball player or an old maid on a baseball player.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And
so the bottom one,
Jimmy Fox, I think, is the only one that's a true Joker. I think. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Well, on that too issue, I don't think this is going to come up on a future someone else's channel, but I don't think that's a rookie card. I wouldn't consider that a rookie card, even if it was the correct year.
That's a whole different subject.
That's just my thinking. That's a whole different thing. Okay. So just the bottom line, just even before we get with the dates and everything else, the first set to come out, John showed where it was 64 cards, 4 sheets of 16, 2 sheets. The image in the circle is red, and the outer circle with the number is black, and then 2 sheets vice versa. You have the the player in black with the number in red. That came out first.
And you contend that those sheets all came out at the exact same time.
First, yeah, they came out.
They were all printed
first.
Well, same year.
Same year.
You that's your contention.
Yeah, and then The second set came out where they were all red 2 sheets and all black 2 sheets. And there were you can go right now, Google W560 sheets. You'll see them, pictures of them.
I saw one at the National. I was talking to these 2 young guys, and I was explaining to them what they had because they didn't really know anything about them, and they thought they had a big find, and it is really cool, and it had the Lou Gehrig and other stars on there. And it was a really cool piece. They were asking, I think they were trying to get like $5,000 for it, which I thought was high, but maybe not. Maybe it's not high. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. We don't know, basically who issued these sheets, so we still don't know that or how.
And we don't know how they were distributed.
Or,
yeah.
Pardon me?
I said we don't know how they were distributed either, right?
I don't think we know. We don't know.
Well, let's get into how we know that these had to be either 1929 or 1929-30.
Okay, so I think the reason why people say, or the grading companies say, or the research says 27, one, and John has some other players or other players but the Charles Lindbergh is in the set. And on the bottom of his card, it says that he flew from New York to Paris. That's what he's famous for, New York to Paris flight. And that was a flight that was on May 20th, 21st of 1927. So that's why I think people consider it a 27 set, just because they can date the actual flight of him flying. But the research is there's 14 different players, not 1, 2, or 3, 14 different players that weren't playing for a team in 27 that were playing for a team in either 28 or 29 that's in the set. So how can it be a 27 set when these players weren't playing for that particular team that they're identified on the card? Yep. 14 different ones, big players. Roger Hornsby, Collier, and multiple players. Vic Aldridge. We can go on and on.
Yeah, Hornsby's listed with the Cubs, and he played with the Cubs from 1929 to 1932, which means it couldn't have been a 1928 issue.
Or 27 for that matter.
Well, definitely not 27.
Yeah.
But it couldn't be a 28 issue either.
Yeah.
And I have another, Gene Tunney. His card lists him as ex-heavyweight champion. He won the heavyweight championship in 1928 and then retired. Again, pointing to a 1929. And then Walter Hagen, it lists him as the British Open champ. And he won the British Open in 1929. And the British Open back then was played in May of 1929. So they would have had to create this card after May of 29 to list him there. So again, not 27 for sure.
For sure.
You can't list a guy as a British Open champion who won it in 1929. You couldn't list that in 1927.
Maybe somebody had a time machine that worked for this company.
Maybe.
But so I think there's a few things that, like the Charles Lindbergh, there's a few other, whether it be a player or an actor or something to identify maybe with 27, but it couldn't be because of these 14 different players did not play for these teams that they're on the card showing in 27. Most likely 20. Some of them were 28, but late 28s. And so December 20, they're not printing something in December if the player was traded December 28. So most likely 29, 30. And probably
I there's a lot of evidence to dismiss 28, like the Rogers Hornsby I just showed. Yeah. And here's one, Max Schmeling. He started his career in 1924. He came to the United States in 1928 and won the title in 1930. And they list him as a heavyweight contender. That to me suggests a 29 card, but could be 28. But we know the Rogers Hornsby couldn't be 28 because he didn't play for the Cubs until 29. So I think these were a later. I think they were 29-30 personally. You think they were just 29?
No, it might be 32. I mean, they probably printed them. Who knows, you know? But again, so it's a whole different subject again. But so the you can't.
Here's another flight. Jean Ocelot, listed for her transatlantic flight. Her first transatlantic flight was 1929. It just seems odd to me that they would issue these cards right after something happened,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
that's why I think it was, late 29, and they probably distributed them in 29 into 30. That's my guess.
And like I said, I think because of Lindbergh being one famous flight, it was May of 27. Hey, Lindbergh flew, so it must be a 27 set. But if you do a deep dive, you realize those cards didn't come out in 27 because of
no. I originally thought these might be 1927 to 29 or 30 because there's a Walter Johnson in the card, and Walter Johnson's last season was 1927, and they don't have other retired baseball players. So I found it odd that they would include him as the only retired baseball player. But a little research, and you find out that Walter Johnson was a manager in 29 to 1932. And so this is probably a manager card.
Yeah.
And there you go, 1929 to 32. Again, could be a 29 issue, a 29-30 issue.
Yeah, and he's in the set. He's on a sheet with players that were one of the 14. Some of the players in the 14 that could not be, I mean, in 27. He's in some of those players were traded in 28, 29. He's in the same sheet. So obviously, it was like John's saying, probably a manager card.
Yeah, the Sam Gray card, listen, with the Browns. Yeah. He was only with the Browns in 28 to 33.
Yeah.
So couldn't win 27.
Yeah.
I mentioned Walter Hagen won the British Open in May of 1929. And so that's impossible. It's a 27 card. So if they were all printed, the sheets were all created at the exact same time, then we can dismiss 1927 outright, even if the grading companies can't or won't.
It is pretty insane if you think about it.
It's pretty insane that they do no research whatsoever. And all these flips have wrong dates on them. Many have wrong sets on them. Just blows my mind. Because, with just a little bit of research that we do every single week, an hour, we could dismiss a lot of their dates.
Yeah. We got people buying Kester, whatever bread, and they're thinking they have that card, a Kester card. PSA labels it that way, but it's most likely a 575 card.
Yeah.
We have years screwed up. We got the Fenway Brewing thing. They didn't open until 1915, but it says they
distributed cards before they even opened, before they were even a business.
we got the Rittenhouse stuff. It's just like every single thing we bring up is just totally wrong. It's just crazy.
The grading companies need to watch our episodes. And hey, if you can disprove us, if you can prove that whoever made these cards could predict ahead of time that Walter Hagen was going to win the British Open in 1929, and you published that in 1927 because you had a psychic, fine, then prove us wrong. But just unbelievable. Get off our lawns.
Get off our lawns, man. Come on, grading companies. But
everybody puts faith in these guys.
I hope it was.
If they don't even know what they're grading, how can they grade them?
The Polo Grounds. I keep saying I can't remember that darn company, but it was a different company. It was a different playing card set. It wasn't Polo Grounds. Didn't say on the box. Or anyway, get off my lawn. What do you think? Anything else? God, we're almost an hour.
There's a lot of information on this. And Rick and I went back and forth, like comparing everything to try to narrow down a year. We're still, I still think is 1929 into 30 distribution, and Rick thinks it was just a 1929 distribution. But I think we can all agree they were probably made in 1929, right?
By somebody.
By somebody.
Some psychic.
Woo!
Out of his back office.
I'll tell you what, with all this beer and bread talk, and we're filming this afternoon, and I haven't eaten yet, I'm getting hungry and thirsty.
All right.
Anything else on your mind? You want to talk more upcharges?
Nah, it's okay.
You want to talk about repacks?
No. Repacks, that's right. Mystery boxes, repacks. Oh my God. I can't deal with this anymore. I really can't.
I can't either. I'm exhausted. It's time to go. Give us your clothes, Rick.
This is Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us. I got to go.